back to your question about the people self-medicating or using marijuana in a medicinal kind of way. I'll say it that way. I think that you know, the Supreme Court did something kind of phenomenal in the last few days.
Something.
Kind of phenomenal. And so the culture and policy is going to dictate where that goes. And so a lot of the time, and I'll take it farther back. In one of my hats that I used to wear was I used to do HIV prevention. HIV, everybody know what that is, right? And so one of the best advocates for treatments and policy change were people infected with HIV. And so one of the first major drug treatments, I forget what it was called now, it's been a few years. It was not considered, no research to back it up. So people had to leave the country to get it. And so, and over time though, it became the treatment regimen that the medical establishment went to. So using that analogy, there are people who are doing what you're talking about.
Down their prescriptions to a T.
Well, and there are states that are catching up. They're catching up. There's research out there. People are catching up to this. Apparently, there's something going to be on our ballot here in Ohio. I've been listening to NPR, and so the research is out there, and so a lot of how we respond to that is going to be dictated by advocates, just like the people that you know about. So, and finally, the last thing I want to say, because I got a minute, is that being relatively new to the field, because as a social worker, I wanted to do everything in life because I'm just, you know, bleeding heart, want to help people. Did not want to work in the mental health community. No, absolutely not. I got enough of that. Thank you very much. God's got a sense of humor. So here I am in this community, and the thing that I've been so impressed with regard to the addiction field, I think the addiction field are miles ahead in terms of peer support. And everything that the mental health community has learned about peer services came from the addiction communities. That's a gift. It's a gift to those of us with the mental health hat. In reverse, what the mental health community has to offer to folks in the addiction side is that there are multiple paths to recovery. Not just one, multiple. So, and when we come together, thank you for saying that, because thank you. When we come together, we are strong, we are powerful, but each of our communities have things that we can offer to make it better for the whole.
And I think too, if you look at it like a football game, you have your client or a peer, however you want to say it, on the field. They're the quarterback. They ultimately are on that field representing that team. So we can be the best coaches. We can sit on the sidelines, give them the plan. This is what we're going to do. See that goal over there. That's where you're going to head. And then we get back in our role of cheerleader, get our pom-poms out, and they go the opposite direction. Well, it's their lives. And with the internet, and it's inevitable, Facebook, everything's taking off. There's a lot of information coming through that highway.
Yeah.
So kudos to them for taking back their lives and taking that initiative to stand up. But we also want to educate people about how do you know it's a credible source. You know, like my students and my, thing, I said, don't ever use Wikipedia. I won't, I want scholarly articles, But how do you know it's a credible source? Now, for myself, I have a liver disease as well. And so we were looking at, nothing was working. And we tried a vitamin, and I went to my doctor and put him on the same page. She said, it doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means there's not a lot of studies on it, and a lot of people aren't investing. The pharmaceutical companies have a lot of that dollars and putting into their meds. So to compete against a vitamin, that's been, or an herb that's been here forever that can't be marketed and that sort of thing. But she said, try it. If it doesn't seem like it's working or you feel like you're getting some side effects, stop. We just noticed as we tracked that it has improved. But that was for me. But I had to do a lot of research, but I had to make sure I was looking in a lot of areas because people have different opinions about that.
And to piggyback off that, I've been doing a lot of that, finding out the research, trying to give them credible resources, and I believe in going back to the root of where we came from, go back to the root of what God gave us to use on this earth. So I'm not against their choices. I want to be the best I can be as far as mentoring them in their lives. So
Giving
I'm
them
hearing
good
that it's
information.
an open book right now because of what's happening with the policies and the legislation, and I just probably need to jump on board and read more about that.
But I also teach them how to get those resources
Resources, oh,
themselves,
yeah.
because we're not always gonna be there. There's gonna come a time when there's gonna be an ultimate point where they need information, and they're not gonna have us to be sitting next to them while they make that phone call.
Right.
So to teach, enable them to act, and to be, you know, where they need to be.